welcome. You are watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan. We will help you with answers to all your questions related to home finance. In the studio with me is Kartik Jhaveri. Kartik is the founder and director of Transcend Consulting India Private Limited. Kartik, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's get started. But before we get on with the questions, let's give our viewers the good news first, Kartik. After the Prime Minister's New Year Eve address, banks have swung into action. Home loans have become cheaper. Banks have started slashing rates. First of the mark, obviously, was the biggest Bank of India, the State Bank of India, which came up with a steep rate cut of 0.9%. SBI's MCLR now ranges between 7.75 to 8.15%. Kartik, this was a rate that I last heard of in 2005 at least. I've not seen it ever since then. This was, of course, followed by Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, which are the other public banks that slashed rates. Private banks, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank also announced cheaper home loan rates. Their MCLRs hover around the 8.15 to the 8.2% mark. And among home finance companies, HDFC and DHFL have announced cheaper home loan rates in the first week of January, and up on the screen there are the new rates for all of you all. So if you are in the market to buy a home, to take a home loan, there seems to be no better time to do that. What do you say, Kartik?
Absolutely. With almost like 0.75% to 1% reduction in rates, and if you start talking about larger cities where typically the properties values are more than 1 crore, etc. So even a 1% saving on that is phenomenal. It's almost 10 lakh rupees of interest per annum. So it's a substantial amount of savings that you will do over the years if you just start calculating. So 10 lakhs is like to start with. And as rates keep going down, you will probably make so much more benefit.
So you do expect more of rate cuts to be announced by these very same banks?
Not in the very near future. Now, this has already happened. This itself was quite a bonanza, quite a surprise of sorts.
But this is also something that was took a long time in coming. This was announced a long time ago by the RBI. The banks have not passed it across.
That's true. And in some sense, the markets were waiting to see a rate cut happening from the RBI itself. Now, that did not happen in the November-December period. So now we are hoping that there will be a rate cut in Feb. If that does happen, then there will be further rate cuts. So which is why I'm saying that, see, on a 1 crore loan, a 1% reduction is 1 lakh rupees. Now, you sort of multiply that over a period of 10 years and, typically the home loans are for 15, 20 years. So the kind of savings that you will have is very easily, back of the envelope calculation says that you will save about 8 to 10 lakh rupees very, very easily. So I think it's a huge benefit to a lot of people, and translate that into monthly savings, you probably will be able to buy a car for free, from the extra interest that you're saving through the EMIs.
Right, but you'd be better off not waiting till February for
Yes,
RBI's next policy meeting. You should, if you are in the market for a home loan, you should just go ahead and take one at this point in time. But of course, like we keep saying, do shop for a good deal before you jump in and select a bank. Rahul's question first. He sends in a question through email. Right. He says that he took a personal loan of 6 lakh rupees to buy a piece of land with EMI being 14,000 rupees. His salary is 40,000 rupees. Now, he wants to know if he can take a mortgage plus a construction loan on property for the construction of the house and foreclose the personal loan that he had taken earlier.
So, logic says that, yes, the personal loan will be so much more expensive. So our guess is that it will be somewhere in the range of 14-15% or perhaps higher as well. So logically, yes, it should close. It has a smaller tenure, which means the EMI is bigger. Now, with his 40,000 of salary, he will be very comfortably eligible to get about 18 to 20 lakhs quite comfortably in terms of the mortgage loans. But see, what happens mostly in these kind of construction and mortgage loans is that most of the lenders will pay you based on your construction stage. So they don't want to give you a lot of money. They give it to you in pieces. But if you can actually put up your case before a couple of people and then tell them that I actually intend to foreclose this loan and rather have your loan, because the housing finance company loan is going to be for a longer tenure, the EMI is going to be smaller. So technically, yes, he should close it. Practically, whether he will be able to do it or not, one has to really go around and ask. There will be people who will give him bulk money straight away for construction, because see, even the banks earn more money if they've disbursed more money, right? So if that happens, then his problem is solved pretty quickly. If not, then it will have to go part by part, and he'll have to try and first knock off the personal loan, because that EMI is going to play havoc with his cash flows. See, he has only about a little bit of distance to play with, 14,000 versus maybe at the most 20,000, because we assume 20,000 is his personal expenditure. So he can only afford a budget of 20,000 for any loan, out of which if 14 goes away towards his personal loan, he can only take another 6 lakhs, which may not be enough then.
Right. And also, Rahul does not tell us here where is this plot of land, where
Indeed,
does he intend to construct the house. But if I remember right, there were certain SOPs announced for people who are looking to build homes in the rural areas and within a particular range, within a particular budget. How does that work? What kind of interest rate SOPs do they get?
So now these interest rate SOPs and these subsidies are not normally for people like us. So now unless he is absolutely in the hinterland and if he is eligible for some sort of an interest subvention scheme that he comes under, but my guess is that's not the case, because purely from his income I'm guessing that that's not the case, because he's obviously into some class 1 city or maybe tier 2 city at the most. So I don't think this will apply to him.
Right. But like Kartik said, you will need to go and talk to at least a couple of home finance companies and then take a call as to what is it that you really want to do, because there is there's very little margin that you're actually playing with in terms of EMI repayment over there. Question from Sri Shail Lokhande now. He says that he was a salaried employee from the year 2011 to 2015. Now from June 2015 to May 2017, he has been pursuing his MBA education. He will again, he says, start earning from June 2017. Now he wants to know if he can get a home loan, or will he have to again wait for some duration to be eligible for a home loan. He's actually in a way upgraded himself, Kartik.
Yes,
will banks look at that favorably?
Technically they should, but practically they won't. At the moment they will not, because we are in January of 17. So if he's in a rush to buy a home right now, that may not be workable, because typically the bank will ask him for the last 3 to 6 months of salary slips, which obviously he doesn't have because he's been a student, he's educating himself. So obviously finish your education, wait for a little while, maybe 3 to 6 months time, depending on the fact that you will also have money to pay the down payment for your house that you're going to buy. So once you do that, and once you have a history of salary slips of at least 3 to 6 months, or at least if you have an appointment letter, let's say if you are in extreme urgency to buy something, maybe sometimes the bank will look at appointment letter, and that too as a deviation. It's not normally a norm. They want you to have a couple of months of history to make sure that you are earning properly and that you will be able to repay the bank also well in time. So that's what is in store for you. You will have to wait a little longer.
Kartik, I want to interrupt you here.
Sure.
He says, he's very clear over here. He says he will again start earning from June 2017.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of companies that allow, that give employees time off to go study, come back. And in the meanwhile, their job is intact. They may not be getting a salary during that time, but their job is intact. They are holding down a job. And once the course is over, like in Sri Shail's case, they start working immediately. So
That's
your
right.
salary in effect starts from the first month after you get your degree.
Indeed.
In such cases, how will a bank look at it?
So they will look at the terms of the contract that you have while you are on this sabbatical sort of a leave. They will look at the fact that you are going to be re-employed, you will start earning immediately. But the thing is, they will not give you a moratorium period. So which means they will not disburse a loan amount now and say we are willing to wait for 6 months time. It will be absolutely unusual and extraordinary if someone actually did that. I mean, it's not normally something that we hear. So there is a 6-month waiting period from now till the time he completes his course. So that moratorium will not be allowed in most cases, which means as soon as he starts working back, maybe at that time he'll be eligible to take a loan if the bank is happy, unless otherwise he'll have to wait for a little longer.
Right. So in the case that you are actually on a sabbatical from a job that you're holding down and you can join back and immediately start working, chances are you could be eligible for a home loan the day you start working, which is post-June. Obviously, till June 2017, till you finish your course, till you are a student and till you're not drawing a salary, you will not be eligible for a home loan. A question from Sandeep now. He says that he's willing to buy a flat in Hyderabad. Presently, he's working in an MNC with a salary of 4.5 lakh rupees per annum. He has 50% of that saved up to buy a flat of 45 lakh rupees, and he wants to take a loan for 20 to 25 lakh rupees, which is right to move. I'm assuming that the property here is ready to move in.
Yes.
Now he wants to know whether he's eligible for the loan and is it a good choice to take the loan when his take-home pay is only 35,000 rupees. What would you say?
So let's straight away look at our rule of thumb calculation. If 35,000 is what you're taking home and 37,500 is approximately his gross income. So typically the loan that he will be sanctioned will be somewhere in the range of 16 to 18 lakhs, perhaps 20 lakhs if the bank is willing. Now that means that there is a little delta left. So if his property itself is 45 lakhs, assuming he's got half of that and he gets about 18 to 20 lakhs of loan, there is still a little bit of delta left, and we don't have information whether this 45 lakhs of property value also includes stamp duty and the other incidental and the indirect expenses. Okay, so there might be a situation where there will be a little gap for him, and that gap will have to be plugged obviously through friendly loans of friends and family and maybe parents and things like that, if that sort of works for him. But other than that, I think right now either relook at the property, relook at the budget, or maybe wait some little time more so that you have a little more conjured up in terms of savings, and then you're able to make the purchase decision.
You know, Kartik, I was about to ask you about the tax front, in fact, and since Sandeep, not just for Sandeep, but for all the other viewers who are tuning in, if you could just give us a breakdown of the taxes that you are expected to pay, the out-of-pocket expenses that you are expected to spring for when you actually end up buying a home. How much would that amount to? Now, he says 45 lakhs. I'm assuming that the house costs 45 lakh rupees.
That's right.
If that is the case, how much more should Sandeep be prepared for?
So, houses 45 lakhs. Now, typically stamp duty rates vary from state to state. But let's take a rule of thumb again. Let's take a ballpark 5%. So, they are between 5% to 6%, and that's the range in which most of the states charge stamp duty. So, that's straight away. Let's say 5% is there. VAT is charged in most states, so that's approximately 1% on the sale of the property. Now, if you're buying an under construction property, in that sense, if it's a ready to move, if it's a resale property, then the question of service tax doesn't arise. If it's a completely ready to move in property with an occupancy certificate and all of that received, again, you don't have to pay service tax. But if you did have to pay service tax, meaning, the builder has built the building, but they have not got the certificates where they can actually occupy the premises. So in that case, there will be a service tax element also which will be applicable, which is about another 4%. So rule of thumb, again, ballpark basis, whenever you're buying a property, prepare for another 10% just in terms of taxes and duties that you have to pay.
So another 10% is what you need to be prepared for. And of course, if you're going through a broker, then you'll have to pay brokerage as well. Yeah. So all of that is something that you need to take into account before you decide to buy that home. We have Anup Das, who's called in from West Bengal. Anup, how can I help you?
मैडम,
yes, Anup. बताइए.
मैंने 2006 में एक हाउस बिल्डिंग लोन लिया था जो 3,25,000 रुपये था. मैं फिलहाल अभी भी वो EMI कोई ओवरड्रॉ नहीं है, ओवरड्यू नहीं है. ठीक है, मैं SBI से ये होम लोन लिया था. ठीक है.
ठीक है.
तो अभी टॉप अप लोन लेना चाहता हूँ. तो ये टॉप अप लोन कितने में कितने रुपए में टॉप अप लोन ले सकता हूँ, अगर ये बताइए तो.
अनूप, ये बताइए कि आप इस लोन के लिए कितना ब्याज दर पर आपने ये लोन लिया था?
जब मैंने लोन लिया था तब 8% इंटरेस्ट था.
8% था ना?
हाँ.
ठीक है. व्हाट वुड यू से कार्तिक, टॉप अप लोन लेना चाहते हैं, 8% पर उन्हें मिला था 2006 में.
Right. So see, most of the loans that SBI is today offering are ranging depending on the size of the loan. Now he is obviously in a smaller loan which is less than 30 lakh category. So most of their loans are between 8.5 to 8.7. So of course he is eligible for 8.5. But this is a top-up loan. So top-up loan typically happens to be 10 basis points to maybe 20 basis points higher. So मेरे ख्याल से आप expect कीजिए कि आपको लगभग 8.9 मतलब 8.6 या 8.8 तक के रेंज में आपको लोन मिल जाएगी. तो ये आप SBI में ही जाइए और वहाँ पे एप्लीकेशन कीजिए टॉप अप लोन के लिए, और लगभग इतने 8.9 तक में आपको मिल जाना चाहिए ये लोन.
तो अनूप, 8.9% तक के इंटरेस्ट रेट में आपको लोन मिल सकता है. SBI से ही ये लोन लीजिए क्योंकि ऑलरेडी आपका एक लोन SBI के साथ फिलहाल जारी है. और कोई सवाल है आपका?
बता रहा हूँ कि मैंने एप्लीकेशन किया था. बता रहे हैं कि मेरा जो सैलरी है वो फिट नहीं हो रहा है टॉप अप लोन लेने के लिए.
अच्छा,
ठीक है.
ठीक है, मेरा सैलरी है 21,250.
ओके.
और मेरा प्रेजेंट ईएमआई है 2,924. ठीक है, तो मैंने अप्लाई किया था, उन लोगों ने बता रहा है कि मेरा सैलरी जो है वो टॉप अप लोन लेने के लिए
एलिजिबल नहीं हो रहा है.
हाँ.
हाँ.
सो मतलब कैलकुलेशन में नहीं बैठ रहा है ना, तो इसका मतलब ये हो गया ना अनूप के जो 21,000 है उसमें से 3,000 तो करीब करीब आप ऑलरेडी दे रहे हो, बाकी आपके खर्चे वगैरह होंगे, तो ये सारी चीज़ बैंक ने उस पर ध्यान दिया होगा, कंसिडरेशन किया होगा, और उसके बाद में जो आपके हाथ में बचता होगा वहाँ पे जो बचता है वो पैसा वो बहुत कम होगा, तो इसीलिए बैंक ने आपको सलाह दी है कि वो अभी नहीं बैठ सकता. तो आप ये कर सकते हैं कि टॉपअप लोन की जो संख्या है, जो अमाउंट है, वो अमाउंट को शायद थोड़ा सा कम कर दीजिए, और जैसे आपकी इनकम थोड़ी सी बढ़ेगी 6-12 महीने के बाद, तब आप वापस टॉपअप लोन के लिए एप्लीकेशन कर सकते हैं. देखिए, टॉपअप लोन के लिए कोई लिमिट नहीं है कि ये टाइम के बाद आप नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते, क्योंकि आपका जो प्रॉपर्टी है, आपकी प्रॉपर्टी तो उनके पास वैसे ही मॉर्गेज है, तो वो लोग आपको टॉपअप लोन देने में उनको कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि वो ब्याज कमाएंगे. पर शर्त ये है कि आपके जो कैश फ्लोज है, आपका जो नेट इनकम है, जो सरप्लस बचता है आपके पास, वो काफ़ी होना चाहिए आपके पूरे खर्चे निकाल के, ताकि उनके ईएमआई में किसी भी प्रकार की बाधा या रुकावट ना आए.
तो अनूप, इसका मतलब ये है कि मान लीजिए आप 5 लाख रुपया टॉपअप लोन लेना चाहते हैं, तो 5 लाख न लेकर आप 2.5 लाख रुपए अब ले ले, और 5-6 महीने बाद या 1-2 साल के बाद जो बाकी पैसे हैं वो आप दूसरा एक टॉपअप लोन ले सकते हैं. शायद बैंक इसे देने के लिए राज़ी हो जाए. ठीक है. Thank you very much for calling in. But a couple of things that we've learned: top-up loans are typically priced 0.1 to 0.2% over and above the current rate at which the bank is lending to borrowers. That is one thing that you need to remember. And also, it is not necessary. There is no expiry period on the top-up loan that is being offered to you, which means that you can take a top-up loan at any point in time during the repayment cycle of your home loan. So in case you're not eligible because of your salary, in case you're not eligible for a top-up loan at this point in time, you can break it up into portions like Kartik said. Take a bit now, take a bit probably 2 years down the line, and you'll probably see that the bank is open to lending that to you. Moving on, we have Shailesh who sent us a question through email. Now he says that he has a sum of 5 lakh rupees which he could either use to prepay part of his home loan or invest it in equities or mutual funds. If he was to go for mutual funds, which option would be the best? Could you suggest that? He's not invested in mutual funds so far, or should he just clear a part of his home loan? Kartik, these are the kind of questions that you enjoy answering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you already know that. So what happens is, basically when you're making a prepayment, there's no problem. But when you make a prepayment of a home loan, think about it this way, that money is like a one-way street. The money doesn't come back to you, nor can you use any opportunity that money can create for you. Which is why we are always of the opinion that when you have money in your hand, it's always better because you can invest that money. That is your capital. The capital can grow. You will have some profits on that capital, and use those profits to make your prepayments. So thereby, what happens is you are actually also in some sense reducing the interest burden on your home loan. And over a period of the entire home loan, when you make multiple such prepayments, net you are still better off because you've had your capital in your hand, A, and B, the property price that you are having is already increasing, and C, the home loan rate changes as interest rates move in the system, and as and when we have a situation like now where the interest rates are going downwards, you're again saving so much. So just don't use up, because it takes a lot of effort, many months and years of savings to conjure up a little bit of a corpus, and just giving it to a home finance company is just one way gone, and you'll never have access to that money. You'll never be able to explore the opportunities that money can give you. And from a liquidity standpoint, it's again a very, very wise thing to not have only real estate and only pay EMIs, have no savings. So it's always good that in a rainy day scenario, or if you lose your job, or if there is anything that happens, or if there is any contingency that you have to go under, you have liquidity, you have some cash available, some money available for any purpose that you might need to.
Right, Kartik, and first-time investor, what would you advise? Any particular funds that you would want to recommend over here?
So yes, what you could do is you could make a portfolio of blue chip funds, blue chip mutual funds, and the other 50% of your money you can consider doing in mid-cap. If you're not happy with mid-cap, just go 100% blue chip and diversified kind of funds, which are large caps essentially. And that way your portfolio will have the least amount of volatility, and it'll keep growing
Okay,
in line with the
very,
market
very,
and much
very,
better.
very technical terms over there. Considering that he's a first-time investor,
Right.
what is a blue chip fund? Could you give him some examples? And what do you mean when you say large cap?
Yeah, absolutely right. So what happens is large cap companies are the very large companies like your Britannia, your Nestle, which have been established for many, many years together. So when we call a fund as a blue chip fund or a large cap fund, what's happening is that this fund manager of this particular fund is investing in companies which are extremely well established, have a huge market capitalization. So to say, they are very large and established, and the chances of those companies going under or their profitability suffering is very, very low. So, but at the same time, because they do not have the potential to grow and multiply over the years, therefore the growth is also to a certain extent restricted there. So those are the large cap funds for you, and mid caps are the younger companies which have the potential to grow faster. So they multiply your wealth faster, but they are also risky in a down market scenario where the markets are going down. Then you tend to lose money also a little faster in that kind of a fund, which is why I'm saying that allocate your money 50-50 into both these funds and stay invested for many, many years together. Run through one whole cycle, run through 2 cycles of the stock market, which is typically an investment of 8 to 10 years. You will in the process see many years of very good profits, and that time you can use these profits and then make some prepayment. Thereby you will get best of both worlds.
So essentially very similar rules to play by whether you're investing in the real estate market or the stock market. Do your research. Research is key to a good investment, and of course stay invested for the long term. That'll get you the best returns. We have Yoginder now who sent in a question through email. He says that he's taken a home loan of 25 lakh rupees when he had a salary of 40,000 rupees a month. Now he made some part payments. He has paid 16 EMIs on this loan until now. His salary is now increased to 65,000 rupees a month and he wants to buy another house. Yoginder asks us if he'll get a home loan for the same. How much loan will he get? Can he get another home loan?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes, he can get another home loan. But what is very interesting is that when his salary was 40,000, he took a loan of 25,000, which means his EMI was almost close to about 26,000, which is more than 40% of his income. That itself is a little unusual in some sense because, maybe he's single, maybe he doesn't have any other liability responsibility, and which is why the bank has financed a higher installment to income kind of a ratio for him. So that means it's not necessary that this will continue. So you should not rather expect that you will get the same percentage of loan, which is what I think he's thinking, that with his 65,000 salary, again, if he gets 60% of that as his EMI, which is close to about 40,000, then he'll be able to raise another 15 lakhs of loan. But in my sense is that, you should not expect to get a loan of more than maybe 7 lakhs or 8 lakhs, maximum 10 lakhs. But having said this, think about it. I mean, you've bought your first property. What do you want your scenario to be like? You earn an income and 70% or 60% is going out as EMI. The rest of it you're spending for your personal expenditure. What do you have if you don't have a job? What do you have to, fall back on? So I don't think this is a very opportune time for you to even consider buying a second property. Go through this first property and use just 1.5 years, it's 16 months. So I don't think you should really jump the gun. Take some time. Let this property mature for 4-5 years, 6 years time. Let your income increase a little bit more. Have some liquidity. You should at least have some 5,000-10,000 to put in a fixed deposit if nothing else. So I don't think you're rushing into this thing, I feel.
No, and also the other thing, which is very important, you brought up the issue of the fact that you probably, God forbid, and you are out of a job, or you yourself choose to resign. If that is the case, or if there is some other crisis situation, how much money should typically be, how much money should you have typically saved up in your account, especially if you have a home loan?
See, if you have a home loan, and if you follow this basic ratio of not having more than 50% of your income serving all EMIs together. So if you only have a home loan, then yes, go all the way up to 50% of your income, because the other 50% we are expecting that you live within about 30% of your money and you are able to at least save the 20% of your total money. So that's your proportion. Now, if you have other than home loans, then all the loans put together, I would still want to keep the cap as 50%, because when you start going above that cap and then you run into a crisis situation like you said, then it's a very serious situation to be in, and banks will not wait. Banks will just take your property in a few months' time and sell it, and you would have lost everything. So, you lose the interest that you've paid for so much time. The capital gains will come to you. You'll have to pay taxes. All those things will happen, and you'll not have a home. You'll be, back to square one. You'll have to start the whole cycle again. So don't rush into it where you are in a situation where you have absolutely very little cash flow or no cash flow.
So pay 50% to loans, save 20%
Indeed.
and live within 30%. That is a ratio that you need to keep in mind. And of course, we don't say this often enough, but you need to ensure when you are buying a home and when you are taking a home loan, apart from being prepared for all those taxes that we spoke about in the beginning of the show, you also need to be prepared with at least 3 months worth of EMIs in your bank. So this is insurance in case you lose your job or in case you quit. You have at least 3 months worth of EMIs taken care of, and then you can actually start planning forward. We have Vivek's question next here. He writes in through email and says that he's taking a home loan for investment purpose. Possession is expected after 3 years. Should he start EMI from the day one of the loan, or should he take the pre-EMI option? What would you suggest, Kartik?
See, now, both these scenarios are good for some people. I mean, the answer is like, take either depending on your scenario. So now, here's a situation. If your cash flows are very good, if you can live very comfortably, if your salary is reasonably high, and if the EMI percentage, like we just spoke a while ago, is well within 50%, then by all means start the entire EMI. The logic of starting your entire EMI would be that the interest component would be very tiny and big chunks of principal you'll be paying off really faster. But then that's if your financial situation allows for it. A lot of times people, when they buy their first house, that's not the situation. And in that case, perhaps you are better off just paying the interest because, you're taking small tranches of disbursement. Whereas you have the capability of paying that whole EMI. So the remaining money, just for example, if you are paying 25,000, if you had to just pay 3,000 as interest, at least you have 22,000 to invest into an equity mutual fund or something like that, which will grow over a period of time. And it'll help you. Maybe later on, if you really want to take out the whole money and if you're not comfortable, just make the principal repayment anyways. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. But you should invest in your assets as well as you should invest in your liquid assets. You should do both the things at the same time.
Right, you should do both the things at the same time. Build 2 assets instead of destroying one to build another. Kartik, with that, of course, we have come to an end of this episode of Property Hotline. Thank you very much for coming in, answering all those questions. And quick programming reminder before we leave, if you've bought a home and want to rave about it, or if you want to rant about your experience with a particular real estate company, Magicbricks Now gives you, the home buyer, a platform to do so. We are presenting the Magicbricks Realty Consumer Awards 2016 very, very soon. This is India's only credible award for the real estate industry because here you, the home buyer, are both judge and jury. So this is a survey-based realty award where you get to choose the best residential projects in various categories across 7 Indian metros. The buyer, that is you, will be able to rate developers on project delivery, quality, customer service, and after-sales service and maintenance. And what's more, only projects that have an occupancy certificate are eligible. So log on to http://consumerawards.mbnow.in. Help us choose India's best developers. Make your vote count. Thank you very much for tuning in.
You can watch live TV on our website mbnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.